Hey everybody, Prepper Nurse One here. Welcome, welcome. Hope everybody had a nice day. Um, Absolutely gorgeous, gorgeous day here today at the homestead. And we're going to take it because the weather is going to change drastically here starting tomorrow. It's amazing. So anyway, really, really nice day. And so I want to put it out there right in the beginning of this. If we have any interruptions tonight, I will get right back on. Um, as soon as I possibly can. So just please be patient and hang in there, and we will get right back on as soon as we possibly can. So we're going to be talking about what can you do, obviously, to stem the tide of the coming food shortages, which I think will be coming. Okay, so we're going to talk about all that. We got some other stuff to talk about as well, and we'll get into all that shortly. But I just want to remind everybody, this is a very family-friendly oriented channel, and that so please be decent, please be kind, and no racism, no nastiness. If you do that, I have awesome moderators that will boot you out of here, and so we're just not going to tolerate any kind of nonsense. Okay, so before we get into the topic, I just wanted to say, with having my great nephews here with me today, my brother-in-law brought them, and those are my niece's boys, and those are her two youngest. They're 6 and they're 9, and they couldn't wait to come back out because they wanted to help Uncle Eddie collect eggs, which I guess is very exciting at that age. And so I had both of the boys help me. We went out and checked a few times and collected eggs, and they had a blast with it. They really, really did. But then I told them, I said, we're going to be planting potatoes today. And so I was going to teach them. And they're like, okay, Uncle Eddie, that's awesome. So if anybody had watched the earlier video that I put up earlier, I was showing how to use feed bags to plant potatoes. And so we did that, and they were really, really good about it. Really good. They worked very hard for little boys, and they had a good time. They really enjoyed themselves, and they played. Oh my God, they'll sleep again good tonight. So then I took both of them, obviously one at a time, for a motorcycle ride. So they absolutely loved that, because I asked them, I said, who wants to go for a ride with Uncle Eddie on the Harley? And they were like, yes, yes. So I had Zachary go first, and then, Colton went second. So it was funny because Zachary says to Colton, you better hold on tight to Uncle Eddie. He had latched on. He got his hands around me. And oh my God, it was very cute. And I made sure I asked both of them, I said, you're not afraid, are you? And they're like, nope, not afraid. And I said, okay, good. So they did a really good job. I didn't go super fast, but I went fast enough. So, but anyway, and of course now my sister is calling me, and I guess they don't realize that I live stream on Sundays. So, but anyway, so it was a really, really enjoyable experience, and it's nice to be able to teach a younger generation, the next generation, how to do things. And I said to them, I said, see, now you can go home and you can tell your mom, you know how to plant potatoes and you know how to do it. And so they it's a good experience for them. And so they learned something, and, being out here is an adventure, and it's fun for them. It was really, really good. Now the weather is turning as fast as it has been nice the last 2 days. Tomorrow's high is now we hit 78, I think, today. Tomorrow's high is like 50, and tomorrow night it's going to go down to 31. So it's like, that's why the potatoes all went in the greenhouse, because they'll, be able to weather that much better. So, but it was, I really, really enjoyed that. It's nice to have little kids around again. And it's funny, you don't realize how much you miss it. I mean, I love the fact that my kids are older. Don't get me wrong. I absolutely love the fact that my kids are older. But to see that boundless energy that, little kids have, and just, that sponge for knowledge and for learning, that is really, really cool. And so I thought that was a lot of fun. And so they did a great job. And so, like I said, that alone made the day great. And then, me and Heather went for a ride later. So, hey, Greg Bison, thank you very much. Thanks for being you. Well, I appreciate it. And thank you very much for that donation. I do appreciate that as well. Oh, I'll get, yeah, no, you know what, Prepper Chris one, I'm sure I'll have grandkids down the road, not too soon. And I've already told Heather, I said, I got to have at least 3 grandkids, and I'm not sure Eddie's going to be giving me any grandkids. So I said, I want to bring them out here and teach, spoil the crap out of them, and do those type of things. And I think that that's important. And it's a combination, guys. Realistically, it's the discipline. It is, but discipline with love. If you know what I mean by that. Kids love that structure. They need structure. And so, but you still have to let them be kids too. So you let them run around and be crazy. You do a small chore with them, and they think that, oh my God, I've worked so hard because I've worked for 15 minutes or whatever the case may be. And then you let them go on and do something else, and you let them have fun. And I was teaching them today too, and I said, I'll tell you what, I said, when Uncle Eddie was little, I said, when I would get a chore, I would bang it out right away because I wanted it to be done so then I could be free to do whatever I wanted to do. I said, after you guys help me with this, you can do whatever you want to do for the rest of the day. And that was very exciting for them. And they came up like 3 times. Can we go check eggs? Can we go check eggs? So, like I said, it's really, really cool. And I do look forward to doing that with my grandkids and teaching them and showing them all kinds of stuff. And I think what the cool thing will be with the grandkids is they will be able to go back and watch these videos. And when at that point I'll be grandpa, was a younger man and doing things, and they can see their mom as a young woman and stuff. And I think that's really pretty cool. And so I'm really looking forward to, 10, 15 years out, to be able to do those things. So I think that's kind of neat. So also we got to do JJ's saying 13 eggs. Okay, well, let's do the egg count first. We'll get that out of the way. Then we'll talk about topic for a minute, and then we'll go into some other stuff. Ex-military, and my kids were like Dad. Yeah. Oh, I hear you. That military discipline, I think, is a very grounding thing, and I think it really, really helps. So everybody got to give me their count on what they think. Hey, Andrew Poole, thank you very much for the donation. I do appreciate that. So we got to do our egg count today here, guys. All right. So I'm looking at everybody here. I'm going to give you guys a minute. I want to see here we got. All right. So if you had the same number as Michigan Chicken Lover, which was 11, then you are dead on. We had 11 eggs today. So, hey, Chicken Little, Victory Gardens are a must. Chores are gardening. The thing is, and I thank you for the donation and thing. And so when with the boys, and I was explaining to them everything and why do we do this and why do we do that, and then I would wait for them to answer that question. So once we got everything all done, and I said, now we got one more thing to do. Does anybody know what that is? And Zachary being older, he was like, we got to water them. And I said, very good. I said, because after you plant, you got to make sure you water. So it was, like I said, it was really, really cool. And it was really enjoyable. I really did. I just loved being able to spend that time with them and teach them something neat. And I'm going to tell you what, that's something that they'll remember, because that's not kids. What they'll probably remember more than anything else is a motorcycle ride. But when kids are young and you have your routine, you go through things, something that happens that can stand out, something different that'll stand out. So that's why I said they'll probably remember the motorcycle ride, because that was their first time riding a motorcycle. But hopefully they take that knowledge in as well, and I think that that's kind of cool. Hey Grant, saw your video today on planting potatoes. I never planted before. What are your suggestions for a first timer? Again, what I would suggest for a first timer planting, watch a lot of different videos on YouTube. Everybody has their own unique way of planting. And that's great. But the number one thing, and I've always said this and I'll say it again now, soil, soil, soil. Whenever you're planting, soil is the number one thing. If you have good soil that you're using, and I don't care if you go out and buy it in the bag or however you got to do it, the soil that I used today was what I had brought in from Bill, my bulldozer guy. That's how I did it. That's the soil we used today. It was old cow manure that was turned, and now it's a rich black dirt. great soil, and soil is the key. That would be my advice for any first timer. Make sure you get good soil. Prepper Chris 1, after last live, the next vid was COVID vid, LOL. Oh, really? That's funny. That is funny. But, yeah, I don't know. So, we're going to get into some other stuff, but I want to talk about the solar system, and we'll talk about that in a little while, dealing with the last couple of days with that. What do you think about those Asia murder hornets and what they will do to our bees and food supplies? Yeah, I saw that, they're continuing to move north, and that's a bad thing. It's a real bad thing. That's another thing that I would encourage anybody. I mean, I have my beehive too, and I really got to get on that and get that set up, because now with the weather finally starting to get better, that's having bees. If you can do that, guys, that's a great source of honey. It's a great source of, you're helping the environment too, because the bees there's such an issue with a lot of bees dying. So, and a lot of bees, because what a lot of the guys do is they have like the bees and they bring them to the orchards, and the farmers basically rent the bees to pollinate all their the trees and stuff like that. So I don't know if you guys knew that. What they'll do is the beekeepers will bring in their hives, put them in these orchards, and like for cherry trees and stuff like that. And so the bees go in there and they pollinate everything. And that's, so it's a win-win, because it helps the farmer and it also helps the beekeeper. Prepper Chris 1, no bees, no humans, fact, and 120 bags of topsoil. Yeah, there you go. Nothing wrong with that. Yeah, and you're right. If there's no bees, there's no humans, because we need to have the bees. They are a big part of why we are here. So, there's that relationship that we have, with the planet, that we need to pay attention to. We really, really need to pay attention to. Killer giant hornets came from China. I had heard that, and they started out in, I believe, South America, if I'm not mistaken. When am I going to start making my own beer? I don't know about that. Not too concerned about that. I got a lot of other things that are much higher on the priority list than worrying about beer. So, Heather will only date and marry the best. Her dad has created the top-notch example of what a man should bring to the table. You know what, Lola J, thank you so much for saying that, and I appreciate that. And it's funny that you say that, because they always say girls will marry somebody like their father. And whatever influence that father had, that is the type of man that they will get. And I think Heather will end up with a decent man. I hope she does. That's I think that's important. Somebody that is her intellectual equal, somebody that works with her, that they plan their lives and work together. That's what I'm really hoping for. And anybody that she's with, that we will be having the talk ahead of time of what happens to them if they ever decide to lay hands on my daughter. And I don't care how old I am. Because at my age, and here's the beauty of being a parent older in life, I had my kids when I was 36. So, with Heather being out in the dating world and doing, and her thing and stuff like that, life in prison is not so scary once you reach a certain age. So anyway, so I wanted to talk about gardening to talk about the pending food shortages. I just heard today that now flour is getting very difficult to get a hold of and getting more scarce. So you're talking a lot of issues are happening already. Everybody knows about the meat shortages that are happening. And what I want people to think about is this. With the country starting to open back up, okay? And again, I believe that it's too soon, and that's my opinion, and you can think whatever you want, and that's fine. That's your right to believe that. But with the country opening up too soon, putting people back to work, and I don't care all the restrictive stuff that they've been doing, people are still getting sick, okay? So it's not like this is the magic cure if you do this, that, or the other thing. People are still getting sick. So when you're putting people in close quarters, there's going to be issues. And if we continue to have issues with the meat processing plants, with like the vegetable places where they do canned goods and stuff like that, I think you're going to see issues. You're going to see issues in distribution of products if you don't have people to take care of those. Like the farmers could be out there in the garden or in the fields all day, no contact with anybody, growing the crops, whatever. But if there's nobody to sell those crops to, there's nobody that can take them in and turn those fields of peas into the canned peas that we get, okay? If there's nobody to do that, what happens then? What are we going to do? Those are things to think about. Hey, Prepper Chris 1, boy, I got a 45 and a shovel. No one will miss you. Well, actually, you know what I like to tell them? And that's awesome. I think that's a funny comment. Thank you. I tell them that I said the latest boy that my daughter was with, I said, I'm just going to put this out there. I go, you put hands on my daughter. And it was funny because as soon as I said that, Heather goes, he means physically. I said, I have 100 pounds of lime and nobody will ever find a body. So, but again, if you put things out there and let people know where you stand really, really early, there's no excuse and there's no question later on of, geez, I wonder where that person stood on that topic. They know. I don't play. That's my child, and that's kind of how it goes. Yeah, 38 acres in a backhoe. Exactly. But you got to have the lime. You need the lime. So, no, actually, it was funny because what he said to me was, he goes, I know you didn't just threaten me. He goes, but it kind of felt like you did. I said, no, I didn't threaten you at all. I said, but I'm just letting you know, if that ever thought pops into your head, I want you to remember that. So, yeah, but no, but the boy she's dating right now is a very nice young man. And so, I like I said, I like the kid. He is actually just graduating from RIT. So he is finishing up all the stuff that he's got to finish up. And so they will be, I'm sure, spending quite a lot of time together this summer, I'm sure. So we shall see. But anyway, with everything that's going on, and I want you to think about, guys, with the issues all over the world that are happening, there's going to be food shortages. There's going to be problems, again, all over the place. It's not just going to be here in the United States. I mean, we are in an advantage over a lot of countries because we do produce a tremendous amount of food. But when you have other countries that really don't produce a lot of food, and you think about the different things that are going on with the locusts, like an example, the locusts that are going crazy right now in Africa and eating everything, okay? And an amazing thing with that whole thing, those different countries in Africa would not spend the money to eradicate the locust. They wanted us to pay for that. Well, that's not our issue. That's their issue. That's their country. They should be stepping up and taking care of their own country. But again, if you've milked off the government teat, if you will, for so long, you get used to milking off that. And that's what I think the mindset for a lot of these countries are. Well, they'll take care of it. They've always taken care of it, and they'll continue to take care of it. Well, at some point, you have to be self-reliant, okay, which is going to feed into what I want to talk about again. I think that it's really, really important, and I know I've been saying this in a lot of videos lately, but I'm going to repeat myself over and over and over again. We need to try to be, as individuals, as self-reliant as we possibly can. I have encouraged you guys already, and I know I'm going to sound like a broken record, put in the biggest gardens that you've ever put in before in your life, okay? Try different things. Now, the feed bag thing that I'm doing, it's the first time doing that. That's an experiment. I will have other beds of potatoes in as well, inside the greenhouse and also outside the greenhouse. So it's going to be a triple play, if you will, for me. And that's the game plan. Redundancy. If you have different options, and this option doesn't work, but this option here works, and that option over there works, well, you got 2/3 of the crop that you hope to get. You see what I'm saying? So if you did it all the same way, and then you had an issue, you lose that whole crop and you get nothing. So again, that's why I want to incorporate using the greenhouse, using regular gardens with the raised beds and stuff like that. And again, the potato sacks. I wanted, not potato, but I mean the feed sacks. And I wanted to try that. That's why I've been saving those feed sacks. No plans for bigger farm animals, pigs out here, and we'll have to see how things go. I definitely would like to have some goats. I think that would be very cool to have. And so I would like to get some goats, and that's definitely high on the priority list. I don't know if that's going to happen this year. I got a bunch of other stuff that I want to get accomplished first this year. So we'll see about the goats, but that is definitely on the list. I want to do meat rabbits, which are, again, goats or meat rabbits are not bigger game. What I may eventually do down the road is get a pig in the spring and raise them up all year, and then in the fall butcher them, and and use that, have that meat available. So that's another thing, because then again, I will know how that animal was raised, that it was a milking farm probably a mile away, and him and I will do some negotiation at that point if we had to. So, but that's the game plan with that. But oh, so some of you guys are saying buffering. I'm not. Mine is doing fine. Are you guys are? Can you guys see me okay? Some people are saying there's buffering. No, because on my end it's been absolutely fine. So okay, so I guess we're okay. I don't know what happened there. That's weird. Okay, so anyway, mine was completely fine the whole time. So I don't know what that issue was. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but what are you going to do? Okay. Anyhow, so again, I definitely want to add things down the road here. It depends on if I can expand and get a little bit more acreage. I don't think I'll do a cow, like I said, because I can always get a cow from the neighbor if I needed one. And he is, like I said, a mile away, about a mile and a half, and I could always do some bartering with him for a cow down that road. But before I ever get to that point where I would get a pig or a cow, I have to have my underground food storage for my root cellar, if you will, because I'm going to have part of it being a root cellar and another part of that being a freezer. So those are definitely things that are on that list as well. But yeah, so that's that. Like I said, that has to be in place first, so that I have a freezer with no electricity. Got to have that before I can actually go, yes, I'm going to have all this meat and stuff like that here, because I definitely do not want to have an issue with power ever. If there was an electromagnetic pulse, a solar flare or whatever, and it fried everything and even fried my solar, if I have that underground freezer, that would not be affected in any way, shape, or form by that. And so that is definitely the game plan. So, again, I have a lot of things on my plate that I want to do. My wish list is long, I can tell you that. But again, what we can focus and do is what we can control right now. And like I said, like today, I was in that greenhouse today with the boys, and because we put the potatoes in the sacks in there after we got finished getting them ready, and it was taking your breath away in there. It was so humid. I mean, it was probably between 90 and 100 degrees in that greenhouse today. So it was that warm. Now, there's things that I have to do with the greenhouse, and I will do those, and it will get there. So, but lagging. Somebody, freedom is not for free. 1776. Yeah, I don't know why you guys see now. Today, I'm not having any issues on my end at all. So I don't know why some of you guys are having problems. But on this end, it is fine. Guys, I see we're almost at 1,000 people in the chat, and we're at 343 on the thumbs up. So if you haven't shot a thumbs up yet, if you would do that to show support for the channel, I absolutely would appreciate that, and thank you ahead of time. And also, if you are not subscribed to the channel, please make sure you do subscribe. Hit that bell icon to get all notifications as well, and thank you for doing that ahead of time as well. I don't know if you guys have noticed, my overall numbers have gone down a little bit. YouTube is continuing to play their games that they always play by taking away subscribers. So if you've been watching me for any length of time, and if you're not going to get a notification and you start not getting notifications, check and see if you're still subscribed. YouTube has a tendency to unsubscribe people. That's a game they like to play. So definitely pay attention to that, because that's what they do. What do you feed your chickens? George Costanza. Oh, I love that. Great show, by the way. And everybody always thought, real quick, I'm going to answer your question in a second. Everybody always thought that show was about Jerry Steinfeld. I'll be honest with you, was not a big fan of Jerry Steinfeld, but the cast that he had around him was awesome. And that's what made that show great, was the people around him, not Jerry Steinfeld. So love those guys. So anyway, what do I feed my chickens? They get regular feed. They have crushed oyster shells that they get. They get cracked corn. Now today, what I did with them, hey, Prepper Chris 1, in space, same metals, cold fuse through it, thought it was cool. Oh, that's cool. Cold fusion, yeah. Thank you very much for the donation as well. I do appreciate that. One of the things what I do now that we're in this time of year, where the weather is getting better, I pick weeds like crazy. And I throw that in that area for them. Now, I've had people tell me, I need to let them free range. I need to let them do this. I like my chickens. I don't want my chickens killed by predators. We have predators out here. Somebody said, well, no chicken, I've never left or moved away or whatever. I got neighbors around the corner. They don't have chickens anymore. They used to always have chickens. And they would let their chickens free range. And all the time, they kept losing chickens. They'd buy more predators would come, and they would lose those chickens. And so, I don't want to do that. So I will keep my chickens in a contained run from now until late fall for the next 6 months, if you will. I will feed those chickens as much greens as I can possibly pick, and they love it. They go crazy for it. They get other treats. I give them mealworms. They get bread, which I know people say don't give them bread, but I give them bread anyway. They like the bread. They're spoiled. They really, really are. Any kind of greens that we have that go bad, the chickens get that as well. So we do definitely take care of our chickens. When does Margie get the spot near the out? Why does Margie get the spot near the outhouse? Okay, the reason we decided to do that, she wanted to go with a smaller building, and because of her age, because Margie is 70 now, okay, I wanted her, and we talked about it. Her and I talked about it, and I wanted to have her closer to the house. So, obviously, my back door is right here, okay, and if she's right there, if she needs me for anything, I am seconds away. And, and Margie is a wonderful person, and she gets scared, is what she does. And she would feel safer deeper in the property. And that was another reason. Parents Parker Jr., Ed, someone asked what to do if they ban people from shopping who choose not to get a vaccine. Okay. Again, as far as that part of it goes, if they get to that, if they ever got to a point where they were trying to see, I don't think that's even ever going to happen, and I'll tell you why. Okay, but thank you for the donation, and thank you for that question. I don't think we'll ever get to that point, because if we get to that point where you have to have papers to go shopping, then we're not America anymore. We're not the United States of America anymore. We're under a dictatorship. And if people allow that to happen, then we have an issue. I don't think we'll get to that point. I don't think that they could push that agenda and get that to go, and people go, okay, yeah, I'll let that happen. So I don't think you'll see that happen. Now, if that was to be the case and you didn't want to get a shot, you could have somebody that or designate somebody to go shopping for you. That would be an option at that point. Again, but if you are getting yourself to be as self-sufficient as you possibly can be in getting out of the rat race, but okay, I didn't know if you heard them. Puppies are out, so Heather's going to get the puppies. And people are sleeping. I hope not at 8:30 at night. I hope they're not sleeping. But anyway, how cold is too cold to put out the 7-week-old chicks? The chicks are actually jumping up now on top of the concrete little barrier that they have in there. But I won't put those into the main chicken coop for a while yet, because we have a stretch right now coming up where the weather's going to be colder, especially at night. And I want them to have that heat lamp for a little while longer. for them so that they're going to be in a better situation. If the weather was going to be in the 40s at night on a regular basis, then I would probably transfer them out to the chicken coop now because they're almost at that age where they could be transferred out there. But I will not put them with the adult chickens until they get much bigger. Brian, hey, do you think Ebola will make another appearance? It already is right now over in Africa. It is, yeah, I never will happen too many true patriots, right? You're right, Jerry. And that's what I'm saying. People are not going to stand for dictatorial stuff as far as here's your paper so that you have permission to go do this, that, or the other thing. I don't think you'll ever see mandatory shots. I don't think you're going to see, well, other than they make you do it for if you want your kids to go to public school. So, but then again, you have that option to opt out and homeschool. So, there's another option there as well. So, and a lot of people, do that as well. Mike Knife is saying cryptocurrency equals no cash. I don't think you're going to see that happen either. Again, way too much control. So people would, don't want that control. So I don't think you're going to see that happen. That's my opinion. Yeah, Pepper Chris one just said there's always a choice, right? We are under house arrest now, Mike Knife said. Yeah, you know what? We are to a degree, but not completely because people still go and do what they want to do. You just can't, like New York right now, our shelter in place thing goes to May 15th. And I don't know that there was one governor that just extended it, and I can't remember which state it was. So if you guys know, you can tell me. She just extended the shelter in place to mid-July. So, that... not like China, at least. Yeah, exactly. China locked them down, blocked the roads off, and wouldn't let anybody leave. So, so I gotta bring this up, and I thought this was hysterical today. So I saw an article. We now believe, and I love this. We now believe that China didn't give us the true information of the virus and didn't give us a true, accurate count of what was going on because they were trying to hoard food. Well, they were trying to control the situation is what they were trying to do. They didn't want themselves to appear weak. Maine is until May 31st, somebody just said. Okay. Governor Brown in Oregon. Is that who that was? Okay. So whoever it was that did it, they extended the shelter in place to July, I think it was July 15th. So, Oregon. Yep. Okay. Oh, July 6th. Okay. Yep. All right. Well, I knew she'd extended it. Thank you, Frank Graham, for letting me know. I couldn't remember what state it was, but I saw that they had extended it up to July. So think about that. We're getting ready to get into some nice weather. I'm going to tell you what, we went out today. Heather and I went for a ride. The people were out like crazy. It was a beautiful, beautiful day. And people were out like crazy. So, Mike Knight said, let the young people go back to work and keep America free. Hey, there you go. Michigan until May 28th, but don't do that. Don't do what she says anyway. Yeah. People aren't going to listen. They're going to do what they want to do. People are going to get together. They're going to do what they're going to continue to do. That's just Americans are stubborn, obstinate, and that's the way it is. I mean, it really is that way. So, we don't, I'm not out in public a lot generally anyway. If I go in the public, I'm going to Tractor Supply. I'm going to the grocery store, and I'm in and out, and then I'm going to get supplies for the homestead to whatever the next building project is. So, I do that, and that's pretty much it. It's not like super exciting, but, I've tried to keep a pretty low profile with this whole thing, but, how can you realistically, if you have things that you have to get done, you still have to go get things done. So, the state jumpers are going to cause this to continue. You know what? I can't disagree with that. Hey, Mountain Girl, hope all are doing well. Continue to prepare. This is just one reason. You're exactly right. And thank you very much for the donation. I appreciate that. Yeah, this is just one reason. There's always going to be something else that is going to happen. So being prepared and being ready for whatever the case may be. And I'm going to tell you what, guys, and again, I've said this before, and I'm going to tell you, it's my opinion, okay? This is round one. I don't think it's going to go away anytime soon. I think it will continue through the summer. If they open things up too soon, I think you're going to see a spike again in the numbers. Okay, but I'm going to tell you what, round 2, I think in the fall is going to be more deadly than round 1. That is my opinion. So getting gardens in, getting prepared, getting your can jars, getting your pectin, whatever you need to have for canning, do that now. Hey, Eric, Prepper Nurse Brother will be poaching deer go up. Will poaching deer go up? I think you'll see happen if people get desperate. Thank you for the donation as well. But yes, I think you will see people poaching if things get desperate. If things get really, really bad and there's no food, you're going to see a lot of poaching and stuff like that, not just deer, whatever they can get their hands on to kill. That's what I think you'll see happen. So and now that ammo is available, people need to stock up and practice all they can. Yes, James Osborne, very good advice, and I agree with you 100%. Get as much ammo. There's no such thing as too much ammo. There is no such thing. Because, and this is something that I always said, been saying for a long, long time, when SHTF happens, and I want you to think about this, not just with ammo or anything, with overall, whatever you have prepped, whatever you have ready for your situation. When SHTF happens, you are going to have what you have. That is going to be it. There's no more going to the store. There's no more getting out there to get more stuff at that point. You are going to have what you have. So the more things that you can have in place, the more infrastructure that you can have in place, extra parts, right? Extra inverters if you have an issue like we just did here at the homestead, okay? That makes a difference. Now, that being said, I want to talk about this really quickly, and then we're going to continue on about All-American Canner, exactly. Water bath canners, all that type of stuff. B is ready. Jars, lids, again, pectin, Gulf wax. Get all those things and get them in abundance, because when the time comes, you're not going to be able to get them anymore. And that's why, like this year, I have picked up more cans this year. I will be doing a ton of canning this year. That is my goal. That's what I plan on doing, and just trying to be as ready as we possibly can be. And so we're going to see what we can get going here with the greenhouse and everything else. So we had the issue with my inverter. My inverter crapped the bed, and it drew my batteries way, way down. And I thought we were having an issue with a couple of the batteries. And, we were having some solar days, but not great solar days. And there were still issues with the batteries, and I was like, oh my God, when you put out that much money into these batteries, you don't want to have issues. So what happened was today was an awesome day for solar, great day for solar. So the batteries, all of the batteries, because yesterday I only had 3 of the batteries on. I had 2 of them off completely because they were reading so low. They were reading at 22. And so we did some experimenting today, turned everything on, checking the power, pulling them out, that one battery out, and checking what the voltage was and see if it was charging. The good news is all the batteries are now charging. And so, like my buddy Brian told me, he said that you got a 25 kilowatt system as far as the batteries goes, because each one is 5 kilowatt hours. So I have a 25 kilowatt system there. It's going to take time to get them recharged up to where they need to be. Hey, Brandywine, thank you very much for the donation. I do appreciate that. So canning is so expensive to do in the UK, so I pickle and preserve it for now. There's nothing wrong with that. Whatever you need to do to give yourself that advantage, nothing wrong with that. Freedom is not free, 1776. Got a new 22 rifle. Oh, hold on a second. With my check and more ammo. There's nothing wrong with that. 22 is a great thing to have, and thank you so much for that donation. And again, like I said, whatever you have preps-wise, guys, remember, and this is the way I always try to look at things, and this is the best scenario to explain it so that people get it. And it could be anybody, any people that don't prep. I always tell people, if the lights went off tomorrow and we're not going to come back on for a long, long time, how ready are you? And that's a great way to self-evaluate, to look to see where you're at. Having ammo is a great thing. Having as much ammo as you can is a great thing. But again, having weapons, having ammo, and not being able to know what to do with them is useless, because there's going to be somebody out there that knows how to use those, that have been practicing. Again, it's like anything else. It's like if I don't, okay, so here, a good example, okay? If I don't ride my motorcycle for 5 years in a row, I don't get on my bike at all for 5 years. When I get back on that bike after 5 years, will I still know what to do? Sure. Will I be rusty? Absolutely. And it'll take me time to get back into that practice of riding and knowing what to do and be comfortable on that bike again. That's an example. That's the same thing when it comes to having a 22, a pellet gun, whatever you have, shotgun, whatever it may be. You need to put rounds down range. You need to have that muscle memory as far as the trigger pull, the sound of it, and know how to shoot and be comfortable shooting. You don't want to try to learn after it's too late. That's not the time to learn. The time to learn is now, and practice now. It's with anything. That's why, like I said, with gardening, again, getting back to gardening, that's why I'm always going to encourage you guys, garden as much as you possibly can, because you don't know. When is the end going to actually be that trigger point that we flip that switch and those lights are going off and not coming back on? What is going to be? What's it going to be? Okay. So the more ready you are for those things, the more practice that you have with gardening, with whatever the case may be, whatever you're trying to do. And again, when's the best time to practice things? When it's not life and death. You don't want to try to figure things out afterwards. That's the worst time. It's just like with the solar. Trying to figure stuff out after an event. Like somebody had made a comment on here, and I thought it was really, really telling, and it was a smart comment. They said, hold on. Hey, Brandywine, your thoughts with Pope ND officials on the 14th? I don't know. I'm going to have to look into that. I don't know. So I can't give you a comment on that. But thank you for the donation. I will look into that, though, and I'll try to figure something out, and I'll give you an opinion. I will in a future live stream. But just like with the solar, somebody had said that within 10 years after a major event and end of the world as we know it, nobody would have solar anymore, because there wouldn't be replacement parts, things would break down, and they wouldn't be able to use things, which was a great comment. And I thought that was awesome. And it really makes you look at making sure you have backup parts, making sure if you can have backup batteries, all those type of things. Like my old batteries, my lead acid batteries, I will not be getting rid of my lead acid batteries. I will not sell my lead acid batteries. I will keep them, because that is another form of a backup. Okay. I can use them in another systems and whatever I want to do and stuff like that. So I will utilize them. Okay. I will upgrade my solar panels down the road. Right now I got 250 watts. I have 255 watts, and I have 300 watt solar panels. Well, what I'll do is I will go out and I will buy, like, you can get the 385 watt panels in the same size. So I can put them in, right? Take the 250 watt panels off. I'll have more power coming in if I want to do that. Okay. But what it also does, I can take those other panels. I'm not going to throw them away. I'm going to save them, use them for other projects. Again, it's that redundancy, having plenty of everything. It's a really, really smart thing to do. When things happen, anything happens, like so with my inverter going like it did, and us having this major issue with that, because that's my power source, right? I can't have power if I have a problem with that one unit. It's a great wake-up call. It's a great learning lesson to go, wow, I'm that fragile. I'm that weak in that area, and I need to correct that. And that's what I've done, okay? I have a couple of different inverters coming. All right. I have the 2 charge controllers. A couple of the inverters that I have coming are an all-in-one. They have an inverter and charge controller all in one. So, those are good. That's a smart thing to do. It's a good thing to have. Other things will be put as backups. That's what we're going to do. What I'll probably end up doing, to be honest with you, the old battery room, I will absolutely turn that into a Faraday cage, and I will put a lot of stuff in there that electronics components and those type of things that I want to have there that I can use. So that's what I'll probably do with that. And so that's again, you have to have backups to your backups. That old Navy SEAL saying, one is none, two is one. So if you can have three instead of two, that gives you a better advantage. It's going to stretch you out longer. If you have, let's say, SHDF happens, and 5 years from now, my next inverter craps the bed. And I go, crap, right? This inverter crapped the bed. Well, I go in, I pull the next inverter out of the box, and I stick that in there. The thing with having be able to have power when maybe everybody else doesn't have power, it gives you time to work on making other alternative forms of power. Getting wind turbines, possibly, getting car alternators, whatever you need to getting a water wheel going to create power. There's all kinds of options out there that you're going to need to know after an SHDF event that can help you to, again, the biggest thing what we want to try to do is want to keep things as normal as possible. So that's really important. Let's see what we got here. My two cousins put in a 90 by 90 greenhouse, and they both of their house a garden at both of their houses. Everyone needs a garden now. You're right, they do, absolutely. Get as much in as you can this year. Can it up, because you know what the best part is? You say nothing happens. Well, now you got a whole bunch of food. You don't have to go to the grocery store. The prices of food in the grocery store are going to continue to grow up, 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 and up. They're not going to go down. They're going to go higher. But the difference is, if you raise those vegetables or whatever you're canning yourself, even let's say chickens. Let's say I went out and I bought 100 meat birds, okay? And I raised them up to a certain size, and then I butchered all of them, and then I'm going to use those, and I'm going to can them. Well, you know what? I'm going to know where that meat came from. I'm going to know where those vegetables came from, and I can use them over several years. And it's there, it's available for me. And then I continue to garden. So if we have a bad year and we don't have a good year gardening, then I have that option of, I got that backup. Overdo it. It's just a smart thing to do. Always a smart thing to do. So, and again, if you can do it, network. Okay, really. Now my sister's calling again. I'm gonna have to call her after the stream and remind. It's probably my brother-in-law, so he probably doesn't realize that I'm live streaming, but that's okay. I'll call him after the show. But stick the hand pump in the well. Well, I actually, you know what? It's funny that you say that. I have a couple of different hand pumps that I can use, and I have those for that reason. So. You can make power just from magnets, YouTube videos. Yeah, there's a lot of different things, Prepper Chris 1, and thank you for the donation as well. There's a lot of different options out there to do. And again, so what is that another thing that we need to have, guys? Knowledge. Knowledge is very important. Having how-to books, okay? You're too busy right now. You can't read them. You don't have the time. I get it. I totally get it. But if you have that information on hand in hardcover, when SHDF happens, guess what? You got all the time in the world now. All right? Basic needs got to be taken care of. You're going to have to take care of your families. You're going to have to make sure everybody's safe. And then you got to figure out how are you going to make your life better. You don't want to just survive. Whatever happens, you don't want to be you don't want to be that next guy walking down the road with the pack over his shoulder, trying to figure out where you're going to spend the night that night, where your next meal's coming from. Are you going to get fresh water? You don't want to be that person. You want to thrive. You don't just want to survive, you want to thrive. So with knowledge in practical practice, it's going to give you an advantage over so many people. That's like, okay, here's a great example, okay? And I'm going to pull this up here again, because I just finished this book, The Longest Walk, okay? And what the cool thing in here, and he explains a lot of the thing is the guy was a prepper. And so he took a couple of people and he gave them the basics in the book. He helps a lady and he helps a British gentleman. and he gives them a little bit of both of them, a little bit of basic knowledge. Well, that basic knowledge helped both of those people survive. And again, that's a gift. That's a gift that, if you have that gift and you can share it with other people and you can help them survive, I think that's a great thing. So again, it's really, really important that, actually, let me just show you that again. So this is Ron Foster, The Longest Walk, okay? It's about a guy trying to get back home after an electromagnetic pulse with the sun, and really good read. And I think it's really important that we read stuff like that so we can kind of get an idea and you can picture it in your head. And he doesn't go all extreme, but he kind of shows how the breakdown will happen and how people will act. And I think that that's important. I think people need to wrap their head around how people will act, how the breakdown will happen, and how people will group up together, good groups and bad groups, okay, to try to survive. And I think that's really important. Karen Waters just said, like The Road. The Road is a great movie. I think it's really realistic and how bad things could be. And again, if you are ready for that, what we want to try to do, guys, my whole goal with everything, I want to keep things as normal as possible. Now, does that mean that everything's going to be sunshines and unicorns? No. You're going to have hard times. You're going to have adversity. You're going to have problems. You're going to have people that did not plan that are going to come and try to take what you have, okay? But the advantage that you can have, now I want you to think about this for a second. So what's an advantage? Okay, here I am. I got my compound, right? I got my group of people here, and we're working together to make our lives better. And we're going to thrive, and we have food, we have water, we're getting regular rest, okay? Now, the people that are attacking us, let's say, okay, they're probably going to be more desperate. They're not eating properly, so they're not thinking properly. Maybe they're not having enough fresh water. Maybe they're dealing with sickness and they're dealing with extreme weather conditions, and they don't have a way to stay warm or whatever the case may be. And, so they have all these issues, so they're not going to be at their peak performance level, where the people here would be rested, well fed, ready to go, have a working knowledge of what we're dealing with. And so that alone, you're always looking for any kind of advantage, any kind of edge that you can get in any type of situation. That's my goal. When I saw, and I've talked about this before, that in America, in the United States of America, 95% of the people are not prepared for a 2-week disaster. A 2-week disaster. Now, we're not talking months, 6 months. We're talking 2 weeks. 95% of the people out there right now, and I don't care with this thing happening, some people will wake up, which will be great, and they'll start prepping and they'll start getting ready. What it has done for us that are already preppers, it showed us what our weaknesses are, which is a great test, and we're going to take advantage of it. I know I have, and I've looked at where I was weak, and I said I've got to make this better. Freedom is not free, 1976. Just wanted to say, keep up the great work, informing people and leading by example. You keep me motivated. Thank you very much, man. I appreciate that. And thank you so much for that donation as well. I'm going to tell you what, you have no idea. You guys do. You have no idea how much you guys motivate me, because I want to make sure I'm showing you what we're doing, making progress, and I want to get things going. And there's days, and I'm not going to lie, there's days I get up and I go, I don't feel like doing squat. But then I think, well, you know what? I got to get something accomplished because of what I say. When I say STD, that's why. You got to keep making that forward progress. And it is absolutely amazing how much you can get accomplished, even if you work an hour a day, 2 hours a day, 4 hours, whatever the case may be. Whatever you can do, as long as you're making that forward progress, that's what it's all about. But again, when I saw that 95% of people were not ready for a 2-week disaster, that was my immediate goal. Let me get up in that 5%. Let me get up into that level there. Once I got to that level there, then I wanted to be better than that. I wanted to be in that upper 1%. Now, there's people out there, the power elite, obviously they just throw money at it. They have underground bunkers and they got years and years of food, and they got, look at the silos they're building. They pay $1 million for whatever, on that silo, where you can go underground and be under there for like 10 years and you can survive. Okay. Those people, they just throw money at it. But I'm going to tell you what, I would rather Do it, learn, get the skills, teach other people, help other people, and just do it that way, And it just, to me, it's, you know what? And can I do it all at once? Of course not. I can't do it all at once. Anybody that's watched this channel for any length of time knows this has been a journey. This has been a struggle. But it is just, it's something that anybody can do. Anybody can do. If you want to make that change, and if you're unhappy with what you're doing, make that change. No more excuses, and just do it. I could not even begin to tell you the number of people, some of them my best friends, that said to me, there's no way you're going to be able to make this. There's no way you're going to be able to do this. My one buddy that came out last weekend, we were talking, and he said, man, he goes, I got to tell you what. He said, I never thought you could do it. And I'll tell you what, I didn't see him. He didn't come out here for a couple of years. I didn't see him at all, because he was doing his own thing and, and all that type of stuff. But I mean, I would meet him out, we'd go ride or whatever and stuff like that. But he didn't come out here. He didn't help, but I wasn't asking for his help. You know what I mean? So it's, you just have to, you got to get in there, get your feet wet, and do it. And that's what I would encourage anybody. It's hard work. It is. It's not easy. Okay. If you were going to go in here with rose-colored glasses on and think that everything's going to be just fantastic, that's bullcrap, because it's not going to be. There's going to be issues. You're going to have problems. There's going to be times where it flat out sucks. Okay. But if you are determined and you persevere, you can accomplish it. You really can. And it's amazing. It really, really, truly is. And that's the cool part of it. That is the really cool part of it. So, well, you know what? Mike Nice said, nothing is easy. I will take that one thing further. Nothing, let's see, game 0808. I've watched you since you were in your basement. Wow, that's a while. That's cool. Thank you. I appreciate that. I will take that one step further. Nothing worthwhile is easy. Okay? Because if it was easy, everybody would do it. Because it's not easy, people may start to try to do it, realize how hard it is, and then they jump back on grid. Because, oh my God, that's too difficult. I can't do that. Or I can't live without this or that for the long-term gain. They can't do it. They just can't. But like I said, I'm not any better than anybody else. I'm not. I'm just probably a lot more stubborn than a lot of people. Hey, Asif, how we doing? I hope your Ramadan is going well, and glad to see you here. But yeah, it's just, I definitely am much more determined, pig-headed, stubborn, whatever way you want to call it. That's who I am, and I don't give up. Once I set my mind to something, like my one buddy said to me, he goes, you're like a mule. And I go, what do you mean? He goes, once you dig your heels in, that's it. And I go, you're right. Because especially when somebody tells me, you can't do this or you can't do that. And I always say, my answer was always, when we got out here, okay, and I'm going to go back to some of you guys that don't know. When we first got out here, we got out here in June. We started out in a 37-foot camper, okay? Well, I ended up getting cancer. Found out the day we moved that I had cancer. So in July, I had to have a surgery, which absolutely threw all of my plans of what I wanted to do right down the toilet. So I couldn't do what I wanted to do. But now, guess what? Winter was still coming. So in July, I had my surgery. So then we decided, okay, well, we have to do something. We got to get some kind of building in here. And so that's when I ordered this. Well, it took them 6 weeks before we got this building. So we didn't get our building until October. Now, I got to tell you what, October can be cold. November can be brutal up here. December, January, February, you might as well forget about it, okay? So we got our building in October, and we got to work. Now, again, I had just had surgery on my back in July of that year. So I couldn't go like I wanted to go. So we did hire somebody, and we got a lot of stuff done. And, when we got the wood stove in, it was early November. When we got the wood stove in, we were sleeping on the floor in the house while we were doing construction. Not fun, but guess what? We had a roof over our head. We could be warm, and that was awesome. It took time. We didn't have running water for a year and a half, so we humped water in. We did what we had to do. But you know what? When we achieved goals as we continued forward, It was a wonderful thing, and you really appreciate things a lot more when you have to struggle a little bit. It really makes a big difference. So, but you get there, and and we have. So, are things going to come up? Sure, and I call them bumps in the road. Bumps in the road are going to come up. You got to deal with some stupid stuff. You got to deal with some stupid people sometimes, unfortunately. So, and that's a great statement. I want to make sure. Follower of Jay just said, always have faith in yourself. Exactly. Never give up on yourself. Don't listen to the people that tell you can't. Because guess what? Those are people that quit on themselves. And they want you to quit on yourself. Never quit on yourself. Always have that determination. Always have that mental fortitude and that strength and say, you know what? This may not be fun right now, but I'm going to make it work. That's what you got to do. And I really want to encourage you guys. I really do. I'm going to tell you what, when I made this decision, and it was not an easy decision, I did it with teenage kids. It was not easy. But you know what? I knew that we could do it. I knew it would not be fun at times, but it would get better. And my kids can tell you, you can ask either one of them. It was difficult, but it got better. And, and here we are now. So, it takes time. Everything takes time and money. That's what it always comes down to, time and money. And, it's like, it's the way it is. When you're trying to work full time, trying to continue to make progress, trying to get things done, and you're doing everything on a shoestring budget. Not fun at all. And I get it. You do what you have to do. You prioritize. Asif, you need to find the eye of the tiger. There you go. Absolutely. Great statement. Thank you very much for the donation as well. But that's a way, guys. You got to really find your way, be determined, don't give up, especially don't give up on yourself, because that's why people will say, I knew he wouldn't make it. I told you he wouldn't make it. Well, they can't say that to me. And when they have to come back and eat humble pie and admit to me later on, you know what, I never thought you could make it. That's a great feeling. And I'm like, that's fine. And I don't take that as an insult. I never did, because it's like, again, my attitude is you can think whatever you want and you can say whatever you want. And you can tell me all day long that I'll never do this, I'll never do that. And my reply will always be the same. Watch me. And you know what? Here we are. Next month we start our 6th year full-time off-grid. And I had somebody today, and I love this in a comment today. I want to bring this up. Oh, I see the power lines out on the street and the power pole right there by your house. You're not off-grid. Well, watch those power lines. Are any of them coming to my house? No, never have since day one. So, I just think, and I love this too. The people that are the most critical online, and this is what I always find very, very interesting. When I go to their channel to intake and impart in their wisdom in their videos explaining how to do things the right way, okay, generally 9 times out of 10, no icon picture, no content, no nothing, and all they do is criticize. Well, that's those type of people again. But you know what? I'm going to tell you what, and this is a true statement. Okay, when I first got online and I started making videos, and when I really got serious into it and started making a lot of videos, the criticisms, the nastiness, and the viciousness of people really used to bother me. It used to bother me a lot. And anybody that says that it never bothered them, you're lying. Because as a human being, when you have a lot of people critical constantly, it will get to you. Okay, but it got to a point. And you have to come to that point where you got to realize that these people are just people that will never accomplish anything or never do anything. They're jealous. They wish they could do what you're doing or don't have the guts to do what you're doing. And so they attack instead. And so the best thing that we can do for people like that is feel sorry for them. And that's what I do. I feel sorry for those people. I'm not going to listen to the criticism. I'm not going to listen to somebody come on here and call me an a-hole in a comment and say, well, if you're a man, you'd leave these comments up. I don't have to. That's the beauty of this being my channel. I don't have to deal with stupid people that are going to be ignorant. If you don't have, I don't mind constructive criticism, but If you have somebody that's not, they're giving you criticism only and they're being in a very negative way, that's not constructive criticism. And again, everybody is not going to do things the same way. And I'm going to tell you what, and I've said through all the years of being on here, and I've said it many, many times. Hey, Eric, your tips for first-time gun owners. Okay. First-time gun owners, a .22, a pellet gun, and a shotgun. Those would be the first three weapons that I would have. Learn how to use them. Take a gun safety course so that you don't hurt yourself. Know exactly what you need to do with those weapons. Keep yourself safe. Keep everybody else safe. And practice, practice, practice. That would be my advice for a first-time gun owner. So I hope that helps. And, but again, it's like there's, when people are critical, a lot of times you have to consider the source, but there's a way to do constructive criticism. You can say, you know what, I see that you did it this way, but I might do it that way. And I'm going to tell you what, through the years, and I've come back on here many, many times and said, I was wrong. You guys were right with the comments in the comments. And so I changed it up. I've done that a lot, and I'll be the first to admit that. Now, I know a lot of people don't ever want to admit that they were wrong, but that's how we learn. That's how we learn. Hey, Prepper Chris 1. First rule, don't shoot yourself. Second, don't shoot others. Well, unless you have to, yes. Gun safety is a big, big thing. For me, it is. It's one of the first things I taught my kids, that weapons are not toys, and they're not to be treated as toys. So you take away that curiosity, and it's really a good way to do it. Asif, remember, people, the number of rounds per gun to have. Oh, remind. Okay, yes. Asif, thank you for that comment, and thank you for the donation as well. My rule of thumb, per weapon that you own, is minimum. Notice how I say minimum. Minimum of 2,000 rounds per weapon. Okay? That would be the minimum that I would have on hand at any time. Now, you are absolutely going to need to practice. So you're going to need more than that to be able to practice. Don't ever drop below 2,000 rounds per weapon. Now, is there a maximum? Nope. No maximum. You can have as many as you want, because, again, when the time comes, when SHTF happens, and it'll happen, and we're all going to get caught off by surprise when it does happen, you are going to have what you have. And I really want you to, if you don't take anything else from this, what about a handheld crossbow? Very good thing to have. I have one of those as well. I think they're great to have. And it's quiet, and that's what you want to have. You want to have that quietness as well. That's important to have. But when the time comes, guys, you're going to have what you have, and that's something that you really need to think about. You really need to focus on that, because we just don't know when things are going to happen. Try to be as ready as you can. I know that we can't all. I'm going to tell you what. If somebody dropped $100,000 in my lap right now, okay, let's just say somebody dropped $100,000 in my lap, just with infrastructure and that alone, I could make that disappear in no time. I would put in my underground, like cold storage, my freezer and my food pantry underground. I would get them in. That would be probably one of the first things if somebody gave me that kind of money. I would get that done. I'd get the pond in. I would get everything else up to snuff the way I wanted it around here. And, I might put in a couple more smaller outbuildings, something like that. But that would be easy to do. Supplies, I could spend $100,000 in supplies with no problem. No problem at all. Now you got to have some place to put all that, of course. But, again, be ready as best that you can. Whatever. The biggest thing, again, I'm going to go back to a statement I made earlier, and I want you to let this sink in. If you don't have anything else except a 2-week supply of food and water, you have an advantage over 95% of the people in this country. So anything that you do above and beyond that is just a bonus. And if you can only do it slowly, and I know a lot of us out here don't have a ton of money and are not, filthy, stinking rich, you have to work at what you can work at. So you work at it methodically. Make progress every week. And like I said, I don't care if it's $5. $5. Because, cut back on cigarettes. Cut back on buying lottery tickets. Cut back on, chewing tobacco, cut back on alcohol, whatever. We all have our little things that we like. Okay, we all have our things that are comfort stuff. Like mine is candy, chocolate. I've told you guys that. That's my comfort stuff. I like that stuff. Okay, but I'm going to tell you what, other priorities are going to happen before I would go out and buy chocolate. So, that's me. But again, even if it's $5 a week and you're putting towards prep, yep. If you fail to plan, you plan to fail. Exactly. North Shore Preparedness just said that, and it's a great statement. But what'd you say? Happy Elf says, "Oh my God, I forgot, and I didn't key me know. Stupid YouTube." Oh, well, you know what, guys? Again, I live stream Sunday nights, 8 o'clock Eastern Time, Wednesday nights, 8 o'clock Eastern Time, and then I live stream on Friday nights Eastern Time. Always do those. I may throw an extra one in here and there, but if generally those 3 days I will be on, unless I say ahead of time that I'm not going to be on for whatever reason. But generally they will be on. I put videos up every day. Some days I put up 2 videos. It really depends. But there's always at least 1 video every day. So that's, so if you're not getting notifications, check and see if you're still subscribed. So, because that's what they like to do. Hey, Gigi. Hey, Ed, will cars work after an EMP or a CME? Pre-1976 will, because they don't have electronic components in there. So if you can get an older vehicle like that, like late 60s, very early 70s, if you can get a vehicle like that and it can work, as long as it doesn't have those electronic components in there, yes, they will still work. Okay. I know, like Greg up behind me, he's got a 1967 Jeep that he uses around the homestead. He has older vehicles, and those vehicles would still work. Do you have sharpening tools for knives and saws? Yes, I do, absolutely, Patrick. That's a great question. Having sharpening tools, for your knives, your saws, having things to be able to sharpening up your chainsaw blades. I have all those things. Ed, do you think the Canada gun ban situation will affect us as well? I don't think it's going to affect us, because I'm going to tell you what. I'm going to tell you right now, Trudeau can ban whatever he wants to ban. If the people give their stuff up, okay, let's put it like this. Anything that was registered, that they registered, remember we had to go through that whole process. You got to register this, you got to register that. Anything that has been registered, they can come and take it. They can come and get it, okay? Unless you have, a paper trail that says this is where it went. But there are so many more guns out there that were never registered. Now, I know in New York State, we had a couple of years ago that Cuomo put in that you had to register whatever, the term assault rifle is a joke because they're not assault rifles, but that's another debate. But, your AR-15s, your Mini 14s, your SKS, whatever those type of weapons, they wanted you to register them in New York. Now, I don't know what the compliance level of those registrations were, but I don't think it was very high. I will put it that way. I think a lot of people opted out of registering them because, and I've always said this, registration leads to confiscation. Okay, so that is my take on that. So I think you're going to see. I don't think you're going to see that happen here in the United States. Again, too many people would say, "Yeah, not doing it." Okay, and I think you would see people really lose their minds here if they really try to take away the guns. So, and that's just the way it is. We will never be attacked on the ground as a nation as long as the people are armed. Because armed, we have the largest army of people that will be more than happy to shoot an intruder than anywhere else. I don't care that China has, 1.4 billion people. All right, I don't care about that. We in this country, we know the lay of the land. We would fight, and it would not be pleasant. Hey, Asif, let your last words be assimilate this. Yeah, right, exactly. Like I said, there's a lot of games that are being played, always going to be games being played. It happens. You have to make decisions along the way. What are you going to conform to? What is acceptable for you to conform to? Okay, that's what you need to think about. And again, people in this country will not go laying down. They just won't do it. Guys, if you haven't shot a thumbs up yet, if you would do that, I absolutely would appreciate it, to show support for the channel. And again, if you are not subscribed to the channel yet, please make sure you subscribe, so that you can get all the notifications as well. And thank you for doing that at a time. Again, a lot of things going on, with YouTube, playing their games, not giving people notifications. That's been happening. They're slowly eroding away my subscribers again. That's what they're doing. It's part of the game. They're not letting people know when I'm live. They're not letting people know when videos are going up, because they don't want people speaking the truth. That's what it comes down to. So, I will continue to do what I do, and I'm not going to stop. So I'm going to say at this point, we are Legion. We are a huge family. We are all over the world. We're a great big group of people. Okay, where is everybody from tonight? So we got to see where everybody is from. We got Germany there. Let's see. It's going to hit all at once, and I know it. Let's see. Northeast Tennessee, London, Ohio, Alabama, Aurora, Colorado, UK, Indiana, Germantown, Maryland, Ireland, Central Kentucky. We got Wyoming, Alabama, Los Angeles, Pennsylvania, Washington, Mason-Dixon line, Pennsylvania, Buffalo, New York. Let's see, the Bronx in New York, Northeast Indiana, upstate South Carolina, Connecticut, Nebraska, Valhalla. If you're from Valhalla, I salute you. Idaho, Northern Kentucky, Loch Ness, Scotland, very nice. Pennsylvania, Indiana, Jamestown, New York, Cape Cod, Southern California, the Adirondacks, Michigan, Philly, Texas, Northern Maine, Trinidad, Virginia, Holland, let's see, Alabama, Raleigh, North Carolina. We got Idaho, Georgia, Alabama, Western Kentucky, Albion, Pennsylvania. Let's see, Oregon, Northern Michigan, Colonial, Illinois, Cape Cod. We got Holland again, Maryland, Southwest Indiana, Oye, Pennsylvania. Okay, I probably said it wrong. Arkansas, Macomb, Georgia, Boston, Mass, Gavinsport, New York. We got Ontario, Canada. Very nice. Anderson, South Carolina, Cincinnati, Ohio, Warren County, Pennsylvania. So, guys, we're all over the place. We're all over to Las Vegas, Nevada, Vermont. We're all over the country. We're all over the world. We are a huge group of people. And again, and I've said it over and over, and I'll say it again, if we network and if we work together, there is no stopping us. And that's what they fear. They fear awake people. That's the big thing. They really do fear us, because we're the ones, when things go to crap, we're the ones that can make a difference. We're the ones that can rally people around us, and survive and thrive. And they want people to be reliant on the governments. That's what they want. Always about control. And we don't want them to have that. I don't want them to have that. I want my freedom. I want to be as free as I possibly can be. Okay, so that's what we need to try to do. All right, and that's just being smart. But anyway, I want to thank my moderators who tirelessly, week in and week out, come on here, do a great job. Thank you, guys. I really, truly appreciate it. You guys and ladies, of course. Just do a wonderful job keeping the chat clean, and that really means a lot to me. It really, really does, because it's important. And so thank you guys for that. Remember, guys, we are all in this together. That is important to remember. Tomorrow is not guaranteed. We never know what's going to happen in life. It's really important that we tell the people that we care about every single day how we feel. Remember, guys, you just got to tell those people, because nothing is guaranteed anymore, especially with all this crap that's going on. Nothing is guaranteed. Remember, guys, STD. It's one step at a time, one thing at a time, and one day at a time. Whatever you're trying to accomplish, no matter whatever it is, it doesn't necessarily have to be prepping. It doesn't have to be trying to go off grid. If you want to be a pianist, if you put that effort into whatever you're trying to do, you want to be successful at whatever your passion is, follow your heart, follow your dreams. Don't let people hold you back. The only one that can stop you is you. That's it. Nobody else can stop you. And, I'm going to tell you what, when I came to that realization in my life and I looked at what I was doing and where I was going and what I wanted to accomplish, it was an awakening moment like no other. And it really set me on the path that I've been on ever since. And, it's an awesome feeling. So you can do it. Anybody can do it. Okay. So anyway, guys, I'm going to jump off here. I hope everybody's having a great night. We got it in tonight in one take. I cannot believe it. 1 hour and 21 minutes at the moment. Unbelievable. We got it in one take. I can't believe it. No interruptions tonight, which was nice. So anyway, I hope you all are doing well. I will see you all later. Prepper Nurse 1 out for now.